very good evening and welcome to Eswatini TV's 8 p.m. news broadcast. My name is Nondobego Nzabgelago. Let's take a look at tonight's headlines. The acting Minister of ICT has announced the board of directors for two government parastatals under the ministry. The Minister of Public Works and Transport says the public must be made aware of the importance of safe operations and safe interactions with railway tracks to ensure safety to all. The Minister of Tourism and Environmental Affairs has launched a tree planting campaign at Galile in the Shiselweni region. The news. The acting Minister of ICT, Manqoba Khumalo, has appointed new members of board directors for the Eswatini Post and Telecommunications Corporation and the Royal Science and Technology Park, respectively. The members will work on fulfilling government's goal of developing the technology and communications industries in Eswatini.
The acting Minister of ICT, Manqoba Khumalo, has appointed new members in the board of directors for the Eswatini Post and Telecommunications Corporation as well as the Royal Science and Technology Park. The members will add to the existing members of both companies. The Minister first announced added members of the EPTC.
Kuna PS Sizakele Dlamini longenako lolunga lelisha laga EPTC. Kuna babe Zungu Moses na longenako lolunga lelisha laga EPTC na babe Mpendulo Mazibuko yenake abevele akhona ebhodini uyaqhubeka kuba lunga lelisha ebhodini. Ngicela ke kusho ukuthi le bhodi bevele ikhona laba labathathu nje bayengeda bagcwalisa ikhala lebese ikhona kule bhodi. Ibhodi ke lekhona kunababe Mtiti Fakutse lokungena chairperson nababe Masuku PS waka ICT Maxwell lo member namake Nontombi Mota lo member namake Colette Pembe lo member namake Cebile Mavuso lo member bese ke phinze kuba na managing director Petros Dlamini.
The minister also announced new members for the Royal Science and Technology Park, which will be chaired by Sithofeni Gininza.
Babe Sithofeni Gininza utaba musihlalo lomusha wase RSTP with immediate effect. Umntwana Nkosi Hlangusembi ulilunga le body Dr. Sbanze Gugu ulilunga lelisha le body nababe Walter Bennett naye ulilunga lelisha le body. Ngicela ke kubika lokho ukuthi lamalunga lamasha ebody na Shemen Lomusha bakhanza ke sevele ikhona ibody lena make Smile Dlamini lolunga babe Sipho Vilakati lolunga babe Nzingeko Dlamini lolunga babe Phiwa Nkambule lolunga bajoinwe ke ngu CEO babe Vumile Dlamini lolilunga.
Both companies are tasked with fulfilling government's goal and vision for the telecommunications industry in Eswatini. They will be in office for a period not exceeding 3 years. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian Msibi with Fabrice Msonera, Babane.
The Minister of Public Works and Transport, Ndlaluhlaza Ndwandwe, says people in the Kingdom of Eswatini, such as motorists and the public at large, need to be made aware of the importance of safe operations and safe interactions with the railway track to ensure safety for all. The Minister was speaking during the Railway Safety Week commemoration event, which was held in the Matapa Municipal Council.
The Ministry of Public Works and Transport has joined Eswatini Railway in commemorating the Railway Safety Week, whereby the ministry together with Eswatini railway workers and others took part in a march from the railway offices to the Municipal Council of Matapa. The Minister of Public Works and Transport, Ndlaluhlaza Ndwandwe, says rail transport is a key component of the national transport system and an essential driver of the economy of the Kingdom of Eswatini. The minister says the ministry will continue to improve the safety of the country's transportation system and support all transport systems in the country.
Bonakele ukuthi tingoti la ekusebenziseni janji tibadini kakhulu.
We have seen that train accidents really occur here in the country and other countries with employees and the public being victims. So it is really important to create awareness on railway safety to eradicate such issues. The safety of employees working on trains, users of crossings, residents in the vicinity of that railway is essential.
The CEO of Eswatini Railway, Nixon Dlamini, says they are determined to ensure that people are aware and will ensure that all Emaswati play their part in maintaining a safe rail system.
It is important that the interface between track, train and the general public is managed. And so one way of doing that is to make sure that people understand the safety message, which is what we've been driving this whole week.
Each year around the world, a lot of people lose their lives due to the different transport modes such as train accidents. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Temalang Ndlamini with Muslim Konda, Matapa.
The Minister of Economic Planning and Development, Dr. Tambo Gina, says the government is concerned about the drastic decrease in the country's birth rate, which has dropped from 3.2% in 2007 to 0.7% in 2017. The minister said this during a meeting with chiefs from the Lubombo region as the ministry continues with the National Population Policy Review consultative exercise.
The Minister of Economic Planning and Development met with chiefs from the Lubombo region to review the national population policy. One issue that is of concern to the ministry as it reviews the policy is the drastic decrease in the country's birth rate. The study was done between 2007 and 2017. The study shows a drastic decreased birth rate from 3.2% to 0.7%, which in turn has raised the concern to the government. The Minister, Dr. Tambo Gina, says the birth rate is at least expected to be at 2%. He says the drastic decreased birth rate will negatively impact the economy of the country.
Sikhanza ukuthi kuhlukubeteka ngekwebulili kuyanza. Shilo ukuthi kulezinga lokutalana lehlile. Lesikukhanza ukuthi kukhona sikhanza ukuthi lizinga lekutala bantwana batalisana.
The chiefs from the Lubombo region also gave their opinions about the population policy. They say the ministry needs to be known because not many people are aware of the ministry's work.
Economic planning akakhiwa kahle nokuthi liyini lendaba lesidabuphi lokho kwenta ukuthi le terminology yabo ingedeyakhiwe.
The Lubombo Regional Administrator Themba Msibi says the review of the national population policy is an important exercise. Msibi emphasized that the consultative exercises are much needed and needs time as well. Reporting for Eswatini TV News is Tembelihle Makucha with Themba Shabangu Mhlume.
The Minister of Tourism and Lima Eswatini with the German embassy have planted over 200 trees with the aim to overcome the effects of soil erosion, particularly dongas that are engulfing the Galile area in Shiselweni. The minister also officially opened the Mkunvini wetland at Nsingisi that was rehabilitated by Lilima Eswatini.
Last month, the Prime Minister Ambrose Manvulo Dlamini launched a national tree planting campaign themed Hlanyela Sihlahla Wonge Imvelo, Plant a Tree and Save the Environment, which seeks to plant 10 million trees in Eswatini in the next 5 years in order to combat the effects of climate change. It is for that reason the Minister for Tourism, Moses Vilagati, on Friday planted 203 trees at Galile. The minister continued to Nsingizini area, where he officially opened a wetland that has been rehabilitated by Lilima Eswatini.
You are all aware that we have a major program where we want to develop over 10 million trees. This is part of that initiative, and we hope that the community at Galile will also take care of the trees that we have planted today to ensure that this donga doesn't extend to the road, because it is cutting through the community such that they cannot have easy access to the other side of the area. We thank them very, very much. Again, we applaud the government of Germany for having supported the Kingdom of Eswatini. They are a true friend indeed to make sure that areas that are dilapidated can be rehabilitated.
German Ambassador Lizelle Topper says Eswatini has beautiful nature which every Liswati should take the responsibility to protect and preserve.
You know, Swaziland is such a beautiful country, and when you drive through the countryside and you see these scars in the mountains, it's very heartbreaking. And to know the devastation it actually causes for livelihoods, as in the soil erosion, is a major, major problem. So that they are starting to rehabilitate it with planting trees and putting gabions in and filling them up.
Lilima Eswatini Director Enoch Dlamini says they are committed to assisting the country in combating the effects of climate change on nature.
We are here to commission the implementation of 3 components of a climate change related project, namely donga rehabilitation, which the minister witness, and also planting of trees next to that donga that we saw this morning. This one, the planting of trees, is in line also with the national strategy of planting 10 million trees in 5 years.
The Minister for Tourism, Moses Vilagati, says the wetland rehabilitation is not only for water preservation, but the women of the community will also make commercial products using the Cyperus latifolius grass that grows on the wetland. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, Sifiso Ngumalo with Smuva Shongwe.
The Ministry of Agriculture says it has approached development partners for assistance in the construction of a big processing facility that will absorb the majority of slightly below standard produce. This was part of the ministry's response to senators tabled by the Minister of Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza.
In the written responses, Minister of Agriculture Jabulani Mabuza was giving feedback to Senator Busi Dlamini, who asked about the National Agricultural Marketing Board. Dlamini had asked the minister to investigate alternative markets for produce from farmers that do not meet NAM-board or supermarket standards. Minister Mabuza, in his response, said the ministry has approached its development partners for assistance in constructing a big processing facility that will absorb a majority of slightly below standard produce. Mabuza said they are still waiting for a response after a mission that came to do some feasibility studies. He also said a copy of the report would be availed to the chairperson of the ministry's portfolio committee. The minister stated that his ministry was promoting community-based processing and cottage industries which aimed at absorbing the produce that may not meet market quality specifications. He said a processing facility had been established at Mayiwane. He added that others were in Malkens, Ngwempisi and Galanga. Mabuza said these facilities are located close to farmers in the said areas for their benefit. For Eswatini TV News, Temgos Mavimbela, Parliament.
The Food and Agriculture Organization in the country says Eswatini should ensure that they are able to produce enough food, especially through agriculture, so that everyone, including the most vulnerable, are able to have access to food. This was said by the Food and Agriculture Organization Assistant Representative Kainsile Mabuza when speaking on the importance of the World Food Day, which is celebrated on the 16th of October every year.
Every year, countries around the world, including the Kingdom of Eswatini, celebrate the World Food Day, whereby nations call for world solidarity to support everyone, especially the most vulnerable, and make food systems stronger so that they can cater for all. The Assistant Representative of the Food and Agriculture Organization in the country, Kainsile Mabuza, says everyone has an important role to play in ensuring food security, especially during this period of the COVID-19 pandemic. Mabuza also encourages everyone to make efforts which seek to provide food for all, especially through agriculture.
Food security. So it has, there's been a lot of progress, but having so much progress doesn't mean that all is well. I must say that there's still a lot of vulnerable people out there who go without food, which is not good at all. A lot is still being done, and we know that currently we also have the COVID-19 pandemic. That is also taking us backwards, just like the climate change did, So our this year's theme says you grow, nourish, sustain.
Research from the United Nations under the latest edition State of Food Nutrition in the World shows that 690 million people went hungry in 2019, and experts say that the COVID-19 pandemic could also tip over 130 million more people into chronic hunger by the end of 2020. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Temalang Ndlamini with Giani Msibi, Begelweni.
Let's take a look at the COVID-19 update from the Ministry of Health. The Ministry of Health has reported 13 new confirmed COVID-19 cases in the past 24 hours. In a statement issued by the Minister for Health, Lee Zingosi, a total of 465 results were received today, out of which 13 tested positive for coronavirus, which brings the total number of confirmed cases to 5,746. The statement further shows that there are 226 active cases, 5,392 have recovered, 115 have died, and 13 have been registered for care. Looking at the cumulative confirmed COVID-19 cases by region, Mantini region has 2,593 cases, Oho region has 2,159 cases, Lubombo region has 503 cases, and the Shiselweni region has 491 cases of coronavirus. The United States Ambassador Lisa Peterson says the embassy is very impressed with the cooperation between the office and community members in building a soup kitchen at Kankhala at Eswatini and Mfonjeni constituency. Peterson mentioned this during a visit to the soup kitchen where she participated in painting the structure.
Following that, the United States Embassy funded the construction of the soup kitchen at Eswatini with 118,000 emalangeni in 2018. The soup kitchen is now complete with the assistance from Vusumnoto and community members. On Friday, the U.S. Ambassador Lisa Peterson visited the soup kitchen to check on its progress, where she was also part of the painting of the building.
It seems like the community has been very, very actively involved, and one of the folks said that we've really saved them, and I think that's kind of backwards.
Member of Parliament for Mfonjeni constituency Sifiso Makakula says the soup kitchen will benefit a lot of children in the community. He says as a constituency, they will try and assist the kitchen where lacking.
So sitahamba sibathengele lethanga elitotsi nalina la angenela amandla adayela thangelo lokuyenza kwenda sinkundla ukubambisa le lapha.
Chairperson of the project, Sugumani Masego, says he is grateful to the US Embassy and Vusumnotho since funding was a challenge delaying progress of the project.
Beside vele le mali le kahle ukuthi singasakha lesakhiwo lesiqinile njengoba sichazile ekuqaleni ukuthi saqale sakha indlu yensapho lesiyabe yabhadwa khanze ukuthi nalinako litulala ke naliyashayiseka iyabhubuka lento kwanze sisikhathi nangabe line kakhulu kwayabhubuka abakhona abantwana kuthi esikoleni.
Head of programs at Vusumnotho, James Sabetse, says their organization worked well with the community of Vusweni. The building was painted and some gum trees planted to create shade for the children as well as prevent soil erosion. Reporting for Eswatini TV News is Pumaphi Mswedi, Vusweni.
The CEO of the Sinqephethelo MVA Fund, David Mieni, has encouraged members of the public to get themselves screened for breast cancer regardless of their gender because it affects both males and females. Mieni was speaking during a partnership with the Eswatini Breast and Cervical Cancer Network for free screening at a Pileni clinic.
The Eswatini Breast and Cervical Cancer Network has partnered with the Sinqephethelo MVA Fund, where the two parties will work together in spreading awareness on breast cancer this month. The Breast Cancer Network emphasizes on early detection, which they emphasize that it is indeed key. As a result, 50 people will be screened for free at Egupileni Clinic, both males and females. The MVA CEO David Mieni encourages everyone to make use of the clinic and prioritize their health by testing themselves for breast cancer.
Sinemishini ke lehlukene kunabo mammography lothola ukuthi ke bona bayabona vele ukuthi noma ngabe ikhona le cancer seyichubeke kanjani ito khona ke lokuthi usitakale uthole lo lwati ukuthi ngikuphi lo ngabe sewuyakwenda. Sithanda ukukhuthata nje kubo bonke labakhona eSwatini ukuthi balithathe leli thuba kuleli viki batihlole.
Mieni says the clinic has all the relevant equipment for breast cancer screening. The Eswatini Breast and Cervical Cancer Network Director, Tengetile Kupeka, says they will stop at nothing in spreading awareness on breast cancer, and they will also partner with the various stakeholders.
The Eswatini Breast and Cervical Cancer Network lesikhathi lesi ngithi sikhathi lesi ngcoka kakhulu. Yes, sikhona 365 days throughout the year, but kakhulu this month of October ngulapho khona sikhulumisa specifically tindzaba te breast cancer. Thina lesi breast cancer network sikhulumisa kakhulu tindzaba letihambelana na 5 wema cancers. We focus on breast cancer, cervical cancer, lung cancer, prostate and pediatric cancer.
Breast cancer is one of the top 3 leading killers of cancers in Eswatini. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian Msibi with Fabrizio Sonera in Babane.
And in our sports news today, both national teams, Sihlangu Semnigadi and Stebe Samhlekazi, have resumed preparations for international competitions. Both teams have conducted their COVID-19 tests ahead of their main preparations. They are currently based at the Technical Center in Lobamba.
National team Sihlangu Semnigadi is currently in camp preparing for the AFCON qualifier game against Congo next month. The team is at the Technical Center Lobamba, where players began a process of testing players to ensure their safety from COVID-19 pandemic. It is believed that Sihlangu will use the ground around the Technical Center for training sessions, since both Somhlolo National Stadium and Mafuso Sports Center are unavailable for trainings. For the women national team, Stebe Samhlekazi, the players are also kept at the Technical Center Lobamba, where they have also begun their preparations for the 2020 COSAFA Women Cup. According to the president of the Women Football, Sanboy Mabuza, for now the team is going through the testing process and we know their group and opponents by next week Tuesday. Both national teams have expressed their joy to return in the field of play after a period of over 6 months without football action in the country due to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera, Lobamba.
Secretary General of the Eswatini Gymnastics Federation, Muriel Hoffa, says the association will follow all guidelines provided by government in fighting the spread of coronavirus to ensure the safety of their athletes. Hoffa says the federation will begin its activities next month. She revealed this during an interview with Eswatini TV Sports in Mbabane.
Eswatini Gymnastics Federation was amongst the sporting codes that were handed permission to proceed with its activities last week by government. According to Secretary General of the association, Muriel Hoffa, they will be following all the guidelines by government in fighting COVID-19 pandemic as they resume their activities.
We are also excited at the fact that we can now resume our capacitation training, which will include, over the next 3 months, Safe Sport workshop, which includes the COVID-19 protocols, the coaches and judges course for the new routines for 2021 in tumbling, and the judges and coaches course for rope skipping for their routines for 2021. Furthermore, we are going to be hosting or looking at hosting a virtual competition for rope skipping in order to prepare ourselves for the International Jump Rope Union competition, which will be held virtually sometime next year, late 2021.
Hoffa concluded highlighting that there is still a need for increasing number of athletes within the sport, especially at the young age. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera, Babane.
We've come to the end of our news bulletin, but before we wrap up, let's take a quick recap of the headlines. The acting Minister of ICT has announced the board of directors for 2 government parastatals under the ministry. The Minister of Public Works and Transport says the public must be made aware of the importance of safe operations and safe interactions with railway tracks to ensure safety to all. The Minister of Tourism and Environmental Affairs has launched a tree planting campaign at Galile in the Shiselweni region. Eswatini, that is all the news we had for you tonight. Up next is the weather forecast. Good night and God bless.